Hello and welcome to the latest Sun Racing preview in association with BETWAY. I'm Tom Bull, and this week we have a slightly smaller panel than usual, but no less expertise, as I'm joined by Sun Racing's Harriet Fuller.
Great to be here.
Lovely to see you. First up this week, we're going to be talking about the Ascot Chase, where Cyrname makes his long-awaited reappearance. Last time we saw him, he absolutely thrashed Altior, who has since gone on to win once again. The form looks rock solid, and he's back at his beloved Ascot. In between those two runs, he had a very poor performance in the King George, where he quite clearly didn't stay the trip. Whether or not he was going at the time remains to be seen. But if he's back to his best, he'll take an awful lot of beating. He won this race by 17 lengths last year. This race does look quite competitive, though, with the likes of Riders on the Storm, Frodon, Janicus and Calvados, and a few others. Harriet, do you think Cyrname is unbeatable in this race?
Provided he's back to how he was before his run in the King George, then I think so. He never quite looked comfortable at Kempton. You never really thought from an early stage that he was really going. And so, I wouldn't be surprised if Connections just went home, put a line through that. They've freshened him up for this. Like you say, he's back at Ascot. It's his favourite trip, it's his favourite course.
It's bread and butter, isn't it?
Everything looks in place for him to return to winning ways.
Would a performance like the one at Kempton last time spell a bit of doubt in your mind? Because I'm always a bit concerned when a really good horse like that produces a slightly, quite big below par performance.
He is. I mean, I think, recently we've just had Altior, who's come back from a poor performance, then he's come back out and won again. And I think with Cyrname, I think he really is an Ascot specialist. And I know they try to say that he isn't, but you look at his record and all of his top wins have come here. Well,
rated 177, he is without doubt the highest rated in the race by a considerable margin. Next up is Frodon, who's likely to come here after a nice win last time at Kempton in the Silviniaco Conti Chase. That was a much better performance from that horse. It was great to see him back to his best. Do we think he's got a bit of a chance? The other one I like is Riders on the Storm. Nigel Twiston-Davies, his trainer, has said this week he doesn't think he's going to beat Cyrname, which isn't the best endorsement in the world. But I think he's got a very big chance, and it's a pretty easy win in a good conditions race at Ascot last time out. He obviously likes the track.
Yeah.
He won it well. He's improving quickly. And if he... I think he's got enough class to put it up to the favourite.
I think he does. I mean, Nigel Twiston-Davies was a little bit downbeat about him, wasn't he? It doesn't fill you with much confidence, like you say.
Quite unlike him, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, normally he kind of, maybe he talks him up. Maybe this is an omen. Maybe he thinks, actually, I've got a really good one here, so I'm going to keep it quiet. But no, I think he's a good horse in his own right. Along with Frodon, I mean, he's just a little warrior, isn't he? And
absolutely.
Him and Bryony Frost are brilliant for the sport and everything. But I do think they're going to struggle.
Okay, but winning-wise, you're going to go stick with Cyrname.
Stick with Cyrname.
To rediscover his best form back at his favourite track, I am going to go with Riders on the Storm at a bigger price, just in the hope that Cyrname might not be at his best once again. So that's my pick in that race, and you're with Cyrname. Hopefully one of us has got the winner. Moving on now to the REYNOLDSTOWN Chase, the novice Grade 2 over 3 miles at Ascot. This is always a very exciting race with the Cheltenham Festival just around the corner, and Nicky Henderson's Pym heads the market here after winning very nicely at Cheltenham last time out. He's quite clearly improved a lot since stepping up to 3 miles, and this is going to be his acid test against Sam Brown, who was very impressive in a Grade 2 at Haydock last time out. This will be a different test for that horse. But Anthony Honeyball thinks an awful lot of him. Whether or not he can serve it up to Pym, who's got quite clearly quite a big engine, remains to be seen. There's also Copperhead at quite a short price, around the 5-2 mark for Colin Tizard, who's improving very quickly, progressing well, won extremely well at Newbury last time out. And there's also 2 for Gold, Danny Wisbang and a few others. It's a pretty hot race this year, I have to say, Harriet. At this stage, who takes your eye the most?
I can't really see past Pym, to be perfectly honest.
Fantastic.
It was a bit of a shame to see him beaten on his debut. Really, I mean, he was quite hyped up, and you kind of thought, oh, is he going to be as good as he is? And then stepped him up and trip, and the way he jumped around Ascot for his first chase win was just fantastic. I mean, he didn't touch a twig, and then he came out and backed that up at Cheltenham. If he turns up in that form, then I think he'll dispatch his rivals quite easily here.
As I say, this is his acid test, because I've also been very impressed with Sam Brown. I spoke to the owners last week and they really like him a lot as well. But whether or not he's quite good enough to lower the colours of Pym, I'm not sure, because I just think Pym's going to keep getting better. Because if you watch him as a hurdler, he was really pretty disappointing. As you say, got beaten on his chasing debut, but has since absolutely bolted in twice.
I think he's finally found his niche.
I think you're right, and Henderson's been patient with him, which is really nice to see.
He hasn't rushed him. The only thing with Sam Brown, if he was trained by a bigger trainer, we might be talking him up along the same lines as Pim, really. Maybe
agree.
I think we can't look past him. He was so impressive last time, and I think we'd be doing him a bit of disservice if we didn't give him a big chance against him. But saying that, I would stick with Pim.
One we should mention is Copperhead. This is a bit of a step up in class for him. He's up from class 3 to a handicap to grade 2 now. But he travels and jumps so slickly that you think he's probably got an engine that can mix it with these. Collins Izzard likes him a lot, I know that. And he's very progressive. It's going to be tough for him, isn't it, at this level?
I was going to say, this is quite a tough race for him to take that step up.
Indeed, it is.
But he might be good enough. Tizzard's kind of, he's taken him along a little bit slower, and now he's making the jump up. So we can't really. You don't want to not trust what Tizzard thinks of him.
No,
he obviously thinks he's good enough to to put him in this race. So he must be going there with a shot.
In summary, I'm going to go with Pim, and I think you're going to go with Pim as well.
Yeah, Pim as well.
Fantastic unison from the panel in the Reynoldsstown Chase. Over to Somerset now, where the Kingwell Hurdle takes centre stage at Wincanton. Paul Nicholls loves a winner in this race, and he's got the market leader, Kelldestin, who won last time out at Sandown, produced a much better run than his previous performances this season when winning there, and he's going to take a lot of beating. But it is, again, a strong race, another strong race. Fusel Raffles looking to make amends for his really disappointing performance in the Christmas Hurdle at Kempton last time out. The likes of Chittobello, County Hurdle winner at the Cheltenham Festival last year. Master Debonair, the young pretender, trying to make his way forward in the racing world. Song for Someone, who produced a really nice performance in second behind Thomas Darby at Ascot last time out. And a few others, including very smart horse Elgin and Diego de Charmil, returning to hurdles. Harriet, who do you like in this?
Oh, it's a very good race, this one, I must admit. I'm kind of drawn to Chittobello.
Okay.
He's run second in this race twice here. I think with him, you know what you're going to get. He's quite a good yardstick. He always runs to a good level. He did really well in the International Hurdle on his return this season, and then was chucked in at the Christmas Hurdle when Fusel Raffles was really disappointing. And I think that was just too tough for him, that race.
Yep.
He still ran okay.
Yeah, he ran a good race, yeah.
He's been freshened up since then. I think he is a horse that probably doesn't want too many runs in a season, and so I like the fact that he's coming here off the back of a break. And I just think there's a couple here. Fusel Raffles, I'd be a bit concerned about backing him after Kempton. Nothing really came out about that. And Kelldestin, I think he's a cracking horse, but I think he has got a ceiling.
Yeah, I rather agree. And he also had a pretty tough race last time out at Sandown,
yeah,
didn't
he did. And so if you're looking at those two possibly slipping up, then I think Chittobello's the one that could take advantage of that. There's a couple of other really good horses in here as well. Like you mentioned, Master Debonair, he's really, really interesting. He could just come here and blow them all away, couldn't he?
He
really?
could do. He's very exciting, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, yeah.
He beat Ribble Valley last time out, who Nicky Richards thinks the world of, and absolutely thrashed him. I mean, obviously he's the young pretender taking on the older horses for the first time, but you wouldn't say this is going to be without, not within his reach, considering how impressive he was beating good horses last time out. Colin Tizzard again thinks a lot of this horse, and you can see that considering he's actually given an entry. I'm a big fan of Song for Someone for Tom Simmons. It'd be great to see him get a big winner like this. This horse produced a really, really good performance last time out behind Thomas Darby, who I have to say is a very good horse in his own right and bounced back to his very best last time. The front two finished a long way clear of the field, and Song for Someone hopefully will get an easy lead here, which I think will help at this sharp track. Master Debonair and Song for Someone are my two. Master Debonair, I think if he's going to strike in Grade 2 company, this is the race to go in for, really. But Song for Someone is my pick here, and your Chittobello.
I will go Chittobello.
Great stuff. It's likely to be a real old stamina test up at Haydock for the Grand National Trial. 3 miles, 5 furlongs in heavy ground. It's going to take some performance to get home in those conditions. Now, Truckers Lodge, another Paul Nicholls favourite on the Saturday, having been second in the Welsh National last time. He heads the market alongside Ramses de Taille, who's been seen more over hurdles recently than fences. Elegant Escape, Yala Enki, 2 old favourites, taking their place towards the head of the weights, as well as Lord de Mesnil, the up-and-comer, who's won his last 3. Ballyoptic, Charlie Hall winner earlier in the season. Geronimo, an unexposed stayer, and Vintage Clouds, who's up £11 for his sensationally impressive Peter Marsh win at the track last time out. Harriet, come to you. Who do you like in this?
I'm drawn to Lord de Mesnil, to be honest with you. He's been in terrific form this year. He's gone up a whopping £32
It's amazing, isn't it? It's like Hunt Balded a few seasons ago.
I know, it's absolutely mad how he's done, how he's improved, ridiculously. But he still looks as if there's more to come from him, to be honest. He loves the slog. And he loves it here as well, which I think are two, massive bonuses for him.
Huge plus points.
He's only 7 as well, and he's up against, quite a few here that would be vulnerable to younger legs as well. And I think at the price, I think Truckers Lodge is going to go off quite short, and I wouldn't really fancy backing him, at that price. I want to stick with the improver here, to be honest. Another one that that catches my eye is Geronimo as well. He's another really unexposed stayer. He did a brilliant effort to come 3rd in the Peter Marsh.
Yep.
He looks an out-and-out stayer as well.
He does, doesn't he? Yeah, he really does.
And he could be one that could relish this test. Again, for a slightly smaller yard as well, up against the big guns.
Yeah, definitely. Couldn't agree more with that. Lord de Mesnil, obviously very impressive last time out. Always horses for courses at Haydock.
Yes.
If you go well at the track, you're in business. I'm going to slightly shy away from your selections, but I do respect them enormously. I'm going to go with Steely Edition, this horse of Philip Hobbs, who hasn't been seen since November behind Santini, where he didn't run very well, but that was very much too tough an ask for him. I'm hoping he's fit enough because he's not been seen since then, but I've always been taken by him as a really, really strong stayer who's got one of these big prizes in him at some point. One that I should also mention is Vintage Clouds, who was outrageously impressive in the Peter Marsh last time out, and that's a really hot race. He's gone up £11 in the weights for that, which is an awful chunk. But you can't ignore him because, again, it's horses for courses at Haydock. So I'm going to go with Steely Edition for Philip Hobbs. And Harriet?
Lord du Mesnil.
Lovely. Now on to the Betway Lucky 15. This week 4 selections from the panel, with all winnings going to the Injured Jockeys Fund, and hopefully there will be some winnings as we've got Pim in the Reynoldstown Chase. He's our first selection. Going to go with Lord de Mesnil, the Grand National Trial, Rise on the Storm, Ascot Chase, and
Chitabello in the KINGWELL.
Lovely stuff. Hopefully we've got you some winners there. Last but not least, it is the Ryanair Chase, our Cheltenham Festival anti-post segment. Harriet, I'm going to come straight to you here. Who do you like in this? I know it's early days, but we've got to have some kind of idea at this stage.
I think the one that I'm kind of looking at the moment is Min. Willie Mullins has been absolutely brilliant this year in getting some of his old warriors back to form.
Hasn't he just?
And I would love to see Min get back to winning ways at the Cheltenham Festival again. He was second at Leopardstown last time, but that was to a very, very talented stablemate. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his name, but he's a very, very talented horse. Previously, he won the John Durkan. I think this trip is now what he wants at his age. I don't think he wants any shorter than that, which I think we saw last time. Last year he faded in the Champion Chase and it was a little bit disappointing, but I think this year if he turns up at the RYANAIR, I think he's got a big chance.
Excellent stuff. Obviously, A Plus Tard heading the market,
Yes.
very impressive over Christmas in Ireland. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see him at the Dublin Festival, but he looks to have every chance. However, I'm going to go with Frodon, who obviously won the race last year, not been seen at Cheltenham since that run, which is quite surprising, really, considering how well he goes at the track. But I'm hoping that he's going to produce a nice performance on Saturday before a big run in the Cheltenham Festival, where hopefully he can win the race again under Bryony Frost. So that's my selection. And you're with Min.
Yeah.
One we should just quickly touch upon is Cyrname, who obviously is bound about the 12-to-1 mark, which is an awfully big price if he does go and bolt up on Saturday. I know it's going around a different way. Paul Nicholls doesn't know whether he'll like it as much at Cheltenham, but still, 12-to-1 for a 177 rated horse is a big old price. But I'm sticking with Frodon, and Harriet's with Min. That's it for this week. Hopefully we've given you some winners, and hopefully the racing will all be on because there's a lot of rain in the air. Fingers crossed for that, and have a very, very good weekend.